Ubisoft in recent years are known for their lack in different gameplay and overall their same game feel every single year. But in one point in time of Ubisoft's history, this was far different. Ubisoft were the company known for their excellent villains. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing one of these villains. In fact, I'm going to be discussing their most notorious villain and their best villain, and some people call him the best villain in gaming history. And that villain that I'm going to be talking about is Vaas Montenegro. And in this video, I'm going to discuss and discover why and what makes Vaas such a good villain. What truly elevates Vaas's character above any other villains, and how we can see this within Far Cry 3's story. Well, let's take a closer look into Vaas Montenegro's character. If you like this sort of video, like, comment and subscribe. When Ubisoft were developing Far Cry 3, they needed a very sociopathic, more laid-back villain. So then when Michael Mando walked into the studio and gave them absolutely everything but what they wanted, quite obviously he didn't get the part and was turned away very quickly. However, this of course is not the end of the story. Michael soon got a phone call back saying that Ubisoft loved his performance so much that they're making an entirely new character completely and utterly based on Michael's performance. And thus, the character of Vaas was born.
When I initially auditioned for Ubisoft, the character of Vaas did not exist. The part was initially written as 6'6", 280 pounds, very sociopathic, stoic, unemotional. And I took leave it with it, and I gave him anything but what they were looking for.
But you still run the line the same way you want to,
yeah.
And you'll pull back on, you know it's coming.
And obviously, I did not get the part. But I get a call a few weeks later saying, Ubisoft liked your audition so much, they're creating this small character based on the audition you had done. The character is going to look like you. It's like water under the bridge.
Now, why am I even talking about Vaas's actor? Well, it's very simple. In another one of my character analyzation videos on Star Wars Jedi Survivor / Fallen Order, I talk about the importance of the actor with the character. And in that video, I talk about Cal Kestis' actor, Cameron Monaghan, talking about how he is literally the perfect embodiment of what EA were looking for when it came to Cal. He's kind, he's nice, he's a brilliant actor, and he looks like the perfect Jedi they wanted to create. They even went so far after modelling the character directly after Cameron, because his performances and the way he really played this character was just so good. And Vaas's actor, Michael, is the exact same, but in a different way. You see, while Cameron was everything EA were looking for and needed, Michael was the complete opposite. He was nothing that Ubisoft wanted, but yet his acting was so good that they felt they were obliged to put this character and make this character into the game. In fact, even when they decided they were going to make the character of Vaas, Michael still changed quite a lot of things, especially Vaas's accent being Spanish. The team at Ubisoft were very sure they didn't want the character of Vaas to have a Spanish accent, but Michael said fuck it and did it anyway, and now it's the iconic accent we have to this day. The team at Ubisoft would follow everything Michael said and even put it into the game, even if they thought it wasn't really that good of an idea, because they knew deep down it would do extremely well in the game. And this is what I mean by the actor really does matter, because Michael was so different to every other actor when it came to games at the time. I mean, let's look at the promotional material for Far Cry 3. Look at how every single bit of promotional material has Vaas in it. Most of the trailers feature Vaas's voice, feature Vaas himself, or just straight up are about Vaas in some way. The guys at Ubisoft loved Michael so much that they even gave him a small TV show to promote the game. And this all happened because of the E3 trailer, which Ubisoft, to their surprise, got huge of love for the character of Vaas, which they shown off at the trailer. But hey, if none of that convinces you that Michael was an extremely important part to Vaas's character being as good as it was, well then you've also got the literal fact that they literally just brought him back from the dead in the latest game.
Vaas? Yes? I love you more.
Michael Mando is the definition of a man completely dedicated to his role. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have the character of Vaas. Without him, we wouldn't have Vaas's Spanish accent. Without him, we wouldn't have Vaas's movements and gimmicks. And without him, we wouldn't have the motion capture of Vaas. And all this makes him stand out so much more than other villains, because Vaas's villain is a character that Michael Mando made, which makes Vaas feel so much more real and therefore so much more compelling. Throughout gaming, there has been a lot of villains to make you feel, well, powerless. To make you feel like no matter what you do, there is nothing you can do, as this villain is in control. And there are a lot of villains who like to sit and monologue and do speeches, but none do these things like Vaas. So let's first talk about Vaas and how his power is used in Far Cry 3. So let me start by asking you all a question. At any point in Far Cry 3, did you really feel powerless against Vaas? I mean, sure, he may have held you captive and he may have had power over you at points in the game, but did you really feel powerless? And I can see some of you saying, no, not really, and you're absolutely right. At no point in Far Cry 3 do we really feel completely powerless from Vaas. Like I say, sure, he captures us, but Jason always escapes, and Vaas is by no means the end goal of Far Cry 3. And he's not even close to the main villain. He doesn't own the strongest amount of land or the strongest faction in the game, and by no means is he Hoyt, the leader of the whole pirate operations and bad faction on the Rook Islands. So what power does Vaas really hold? Well, I would argue he holds something I call in-the-moment power. When you get captured by Vaas, or when you encounter Vaas, 9 times out of 10 the player knows that Jason is not going to die, but yet you have this weird, strange feeling that Vaas has power over you in some way, and I call it the unknown power. You don't so much fear his exact power, but you fear the power he has to be unpredictable. You never know what Vaas will do next, and that's where his power comes in. His power is quite simply his unpredictable nature. What truly makes Vaas so unpredictable is his nature, is that feeling of not what you know he'll do, but what you don't know what he won't do. Will Vaas stay calm, or will he leap up in the next section to try and frighten you? You really don't know, and that's what makes Vaas such a good character, his unpredictable nature presented through his power.
I mean, without family, who the fuck are we? There was a time where I'd do anything for my sister, you know, first time I ever killed was for my sister. It's not enough for her. No, please. You see, the thing about our loved ones, right? Our fucking loved ones! They come and they blindside you every fucking time. So they say to me, they say, Vaas, who the fuck is it going to be? Them or me? Me or them? like, you know.
But what further backs this up through his power is Vaas's incredible monologues and speeches. Vaas does a lot of speeches and monologues throughout Far Cry 3, and this propels his character extremely highly. But why is this? I mean, we've seen villains do monologues about how they're going to take over the world, and villains be angry and do speeches all the time, so why are Vaas's so good? Why is it always so different when Vaas does a speech and then when any other villain ever does a speech in gaming? Why is it so different then? Well, it all comes down to what Vaas is trying to say. Because when Vaas does a speech, 90% of the time, he is trying to tell the player or prove the player something he truly believes. And that is what makes him better than all the other Ubisoft villains and most other villains in gaming, is that Vaas always has something to prove / say. 90% of the time, Vaas is never mocking you or gloating over you like other villains will, because Vaas has a message he wants the player to receive, unlike other villains. For example, at the beginning of the game when Vaas has captured you, the only thing he monologues about is family, and how that you, the player, Jason, is completely out of your element, and this is far different to the intro scene you've just seen. Vaas deeply connects with the player to warn them / prove to them points he wants to make. In the middle of the game, with his famous insanity speech, he is making a much deeper meaning with his speech, trying to convince the player that they are actually going insane. Doing the same thing over and over again turns you insane is his logic, so by killing the same animals, taking the same outposts, and killing the same pirates, you are entrapping yourself in this circle, going insane. And then finally, the last thing he says before he dies, I mean, dies. Vaas, before he dies, is trying to warn the player about his sister Citrus and how the player is only falling further into insanity by following Citra. Overall, what I'm trying to say is that everything Vaas does is done for a reason, and done for a belief that he truly wants to tell/show the player because he truly fundamentally believes it. This makes Vaas more believable as a character and makes him more real, which makes him further a better character. In all, if not most games you play, the main villain just has this feeling about them, this presence that you can't escape. And the same can be said about Vaas. Except not really. You see, Vaas's presence can be summed up in just 4 words. The definition of insanity. In my opinion, Vaas's pure reason to be in Far Cry 3, if nothing else, is to remind the player what insanity really looks like. Vaas is the constant reminder to the player that this is how they will end up if they continue to stay on the Rook Islands. And if they continue to follow this circle of insanity, they too will fall into it just like Vaas has. Vaas truly is so different to every other villain ever because what he preaches about, the very thing he preaches against, is what he is. Vaas is insane. Vaas has become victim to this circle, and Vaas cannot escape it. However, Vaas will continue to preach and monologue about insanity as if he is untouched by it. This kind of extremely intricate and clever writing makes Vaas such a more likable and understandable character.
Over and over again, thinking, this time he's going to be different. No, please. This time he's going to be different. I'm sorry. I don't like the way you are looking at me. Okay? You have a fucking problem in your head. Do you think I'm bullshitting you? Do you think I'm lying? Fuck you! Okay? Fuck you!
And overall, this just kind of makes us feel bad for Vaas, as he himself has fallen victim to something he preaches against, something he warns Jason about, so we feel empathy for Vaas. In conclusion, what makes Vaas such an incredible and different villain to any other is his actor's dedication to his role and making him the best version of a villain that a villain can be. As well as the fact that his overall physical performance is incredible, the speeches and monologues Vaas does always have a message behind them deeper than the surface value, creating this much more poetic and incredible atmosphere about Vaas's character. As well as Vaas's mannerisms just being completely different to any other villain I have seen. That is what makes Vaas such a different and such an incredible villain. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below who you think is the best villain Ubisoft have ever made. Thank you guys ever so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe guys, peace out.